I'm just putting out great thoughts.
Hello, everybody. It's Alex, your favorite care girl and your grandmother's favorite. As you guys know, I have a home care agency here in Georgia. We take care of sick adults and children as well. And today we're on the podcast with Dr. Candace Holmes. And I'm so excited because again, we get to talk about brain. She's the CEO and founder of Brown Core Neurofeedback. Arthur. She's a transformation specialist of the brain. She does wellness as well, speaker, corporate house call, chiropractor. What don't she do?
I
Tell me that. Like, what?
yeah, no, honestly,
Tell us how did
dirty jobs, I guess.
how did you
That's
become
what I
all of these things? Like, did you just like? Let's start with you because it's a lot. It's a lot you that goes into your story. Did you grow up wanting to help people, make people better? You know, were you the person like bringing in the teaspoon of car level oil? You know, like tell me like how did you become you and like when did this become a thing in your mind? Like, hey, this is what I want to do.
Interestingly enough, I've always wanted to be a doctor. It just wasn't this kind of doctor. First, I wanted to be a pediatrician because you think of the babies, we want to take care of them. And then I wanted to be a veterinarian. And then I was like, wait a minute, I don't like snakes, so I don't think that's going to work. What really upset me is I didn't know until I got older that you could specialize, like in so dogs. I'm like, nobody told me that.
I don't know.
Yeah. Listen, I wanted to be a physical therapist. Then I did I was a candy striper at a hospital, and they put me in the wound care unit. And no.
And you said no, it wasn't for you. Any striper.
So a candy striper is a volunteer, typically a teenage volunteer, and you go and do whatever they ask you to do. And they wanted me to clean the wound care tub, and I remember this particular patient was in, and he started coughing, and the whole room just had this stench that came over, and his nurse was over there just doing everything just to get him right. And he left, and I was like, "Wow!" I said, I said that nurse is really on it. The woman said, "That's his wife," and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, just no, 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 no. And then I went to college and studied biology, pre med, with the intentions on being a sports medicine doctor. I'm a former athlete. I played basketball and softball. I was actually my high school class's female, athlete, or whatever.
I
Student.
love that. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yes. And when I got to Xavier, University of Louisiana, okay, put that in there. Put that in there. I love my
Name drop,
mom.
name drop.
Yes, there you go. And they are in the top in place in African Americans in medical school. And I remember one of the graduates came back. He was at Johns Hopkins Medical Center. He was a valedictorian. And he was saying, he doesn't eat, he barely sleeps. His mom does his laundry, his dad cooks. And I'm like, at some point, I want to get married and have children. I said, that is not going to work. And so I
You
went
said
to
he hasn't or the doctor?
but yeah, he wasn't. I mean, he was,
It was somebody you were dating?
no, 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 no. Just somebody who
Oh.
came back to, no, no.
Oh, okay. No. Okay, you just
So
saying
just
like
somebody who came back.
okay, he explained like what he does and like
Right.
he
Just,
he I don't get no rest. Like
yeah, he was in medical school and he was not, I mean, he's a valedictorian. I'm like, you're a 4.0. I'm a 3.5. I'm like, I don't know about all this. And so I went to the library to see what else I could do. And being a chiropractor came up. And I have always had an affinity towards health and away from medications. And I'm like, well, this will work because, when I was younger, I would have really bad cramps during my menstrual cycle. And I'm literally walking doubled over, I should say, when I was like, 14 or so. And my mom was like, I don't know why you just want to take some Pampers and like, oh, you're somebody here suffering and there, and as mom, it'll be okay. And so when I found out about chiropractors, I was like, wow, there are doctors who like don't give medication and they move the body parts. And, I wanted to stay active and physical. And I'm like, oh, that might work. And so the summer before my senior year, I went home to Detroit and looked up chiropractors who looked like me and got their experience and their suggestions. And I got to answer the questions that I need to have asked and to see how they were living, if they liked the profession and which school they would recommend. And out of the three, uh, all three of them recommended the same school, and only two of them went to that school. And I was like, whoa, someone that didn't go here is recommending I go there. So, and that the school was here in Marietta, Georgia. So that's how I ended up becoming a chiropractor.
awesome. I love that. I love that. And every time somebody, like, has anything going on with them, I was like, "You didn't go to a chiropractor." And they're like, "No, they're gonna break my neck or they're gonna break my back," or, and it's just like, "No, like, this is, like, the best type of medicine, using your body, just the pressure points and all those things." So, until you've done it, you can't really say, it's not just for people that are injured in an accident. It's
Absolutely not.
actually, like, it helps with, like, allergies and
Everything.
right?
My children have been adjusted since they were hours old. My oldest was 8 hours old. My youngest was actually 3 hours old. Little people get little adjustments. I tell people all the time. I'm not gonna get in there and, do all no, that's the people. People have a horrible, picture in their mind when they think about chiropractors, but they have no problem taking a drug that it may kill you. So, it's interesting to me, but
Yeah.
no.
I love that. So how did you turn this into the brain? Like, how did you what made you specialize in neurofeedback and the brain and everything? Because of course, the brain girl in me, everybody knows my story. Y'all go back to the other episodes. I know what I do.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not gonna get into that because this is about okay. But how did you get to the brain? Like, what interests you in that lane?
Well, I have 2 daughters. My oldest daughter was diagnosed with ADHD when she was 7, and honestly, I was in denial when she received the diagnosis, even though it was from, someone I trusted, because no one in my family had that, and so I literally asked everyone, like cousins, aunts, uncles, like, "Who? Anybody? No, no, no." And then one day it occurred to me that, my children have a father, my ex-husband, and I need to see about his genetics, and so I contacted his cousin, and
It's
she
never us. It's never us.
us. Yeah, well, really? No, absolutely not. So when she said there was a high possibility it was on their side, I was like, "Okay, okay, here we are now." And, my daughter was struggling for a while, just so much so I didn't think she would go to college.
What
And
were some of those signs that you saw just so
well
BF has those issues?
well, she was, petite when she was born. I was extremely stressed out. I was 36 weeks and 5 days, so she was 2 days short of
Mhm.
being full term. She was 4 pounds, 10.8 ounces, totally healthy, didn't have to go to ICU, NICU, or anything. She was just petite. And the doctors told me she had some delays, and I'm like, "Okay, delays 'cause she's a little smaller." And, in kindergarten, I ended up having to hold her back, and I was, uh, not happy about that because, I'm like, "It's kindergarten," But,
Yeah. Yeah.
she suggested, and they said, "If you're going to do it, then kindergarten, 1st or 2nd grade are the best time. So let's do kindergarten so she would even feel a difference or know a difference or so." And, she wasn't crawling, and, the pediatrician that I had at that time didn't think there was anything wrong with that, and I'm like, "No, no, no, no. She needs to crawl. There's crawl, walk, run. You don't just go."
How old was she
She was
when she was pregnant?
almost 1.
Oh,
Almost
wow.
really
Yeah.
when I put her on her tummy, she for tummy time, because they talk about tummy time, she would start crying, and I first thought I wanted to put her to bed, and I'm like, "No, sweetie." I'm like, "Yay, tummy time." I'm like, "Yo, demonstrating how to, do the army crawl." She was like, "Nah." I was like, "No, no." And so when I was concerned and spoke to the pediatrician, he suggested that she go to a physical therapist, and I was like, "That physical therapy for babies?" Again, they told me not to do one thing.
Yeah. You never
No.
don't really think that they might need physical therapy.
Cool. That they work with people that young, and so started doing that. She had speech delays. It was a plethora, just a plethora. And I tried to go the most natural way I could with her. So, as chiropractors, we try to stay away from medications. And so I tried a naturopath who gave her a remedy, and that worked well for a little bit. And then middle school hit, and she told me the naturopath told me, when her hormones change, it may not work anymore. And she hit a wall, and I was saying, us, what are we gonna do? And then it just so happened I was going through one of our chiropractic magazines, and it had an article about neurofeedback therapy. It said drug-free therapy, non-invasive, results can last up to 30 years. And I'm like, what, 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 what? So exactly. So then I called the number and spoke with the doctors there, and found out that the company is founded by one of my former professors in chiropractic school, who was trying to find a solution for his nephew who has Asperger's. And so I did my research and, prayed on it. And I was like, okay, like we're doing this. And so invested in the system, started working with my daughter. She went from lacking focus and attention to being the most focused in class, according to her teachers. So much so she kept her peers on task, from being forcefully awkward to having tons of friends, from um, having issues with Oh gosh.
Like
Homework.
socialization?
Homework. It was taking her 5 hours a night to do homework. And then she went from 5 hours to 2.5 and 2.5 to 3. And I remember, when she was going through this transformation through neurofeedback, I was like, "Hey, do you need help with homework?" She's like, "No, I got it." And I'm like, You sure?" And yeah. And so then I said, "Well, just let me check it," after and she had it. And I was like, "Okay." And then my youngest daughter told me, said, "Mommy, you don't yell at her like you used to." I became a yeller,
Yeah.
working all day, picking them up, making dinner, and then working with her till midnight every night, and so,
Mhm.
it's a lot. My time was at 12:15 in the morning, and I had
Yeah.
to and go to school, go to work the next day. So,
Mhm.
yeah, so I ended up
Sacrifice.
she had such great results. I'm like, other people don't even know about this. It's been around for over 60 years. I think it was 50 years at that time. And I'm like, why is that? So let me do what I can to make the public more aware of it.
I love that. So, what's the process of neurofeedback for those who don't know? Is there some sort of machine? Like just like for people because I know the pro side of it, the other one I know.
Yes, all the brain stuff.
Oh, my
Yes.
friend went in and out. Okay. The
So
Wi-Fi went in and out. Okay, here we go.
So
Bring it back.
neurofeedback is a sophisticated form of biofeedback. It is a way to retrain your brain so that it functions better. So when the brain isn't functioning so well, that's when you start having symptoms from, say, like, autism or ADHD or anxiety or depression. So it is a computer-based program. The one of the first steps is to have a brain mapping done, which is a functional assessment to see where your brain patterns are. And where they're great, fine. Where they're having challenges, then let's address those. And we set you up on computer, similar to a laptop, and it has software on it. You watch something on one of those streaming devices for 30 minutes twice a day while you're connected with some sensors, and your brain essentially learns how to do better. It's just like it's called neuroplasticity, is what it is. Your brain's ability to learn how to perform differently. And the results last up to 30 years. And what I love about it is that it's easy. When you're watching, let's say we're watching, I can't, I, I'm not, we're watching the show. I was going to say one of my favorites. We're watching the show, and your brain is in the frequencies aren't where they need to be. Then the screen will fade and the volume goes down. When you're where we want your brain to be, then whatever you're watching will go just as it normally does. The screen is bright and you hear it well. So it's called operant conditioning. So it's that positive and negative reinforcement. Except the negative just doesn't hurt. The only negative is that the screen fades and the volume goes down. And the only thing your brain wants to do is watch what you're watching regularly. So it's not like you sit there and go, like, go, like, it's none of that. It happens naturally. Like if it weren't easy, my daughter wouldn't have done it. I'm telling you right now, she would not have done it because again, she had ADHD. So she'd have been anywhere else. But you sit her down in front of a screen and she can watch whatever she wants to watch. Like she would get mad at me where her movie wasn't over in 30 minutes. Mommy, no, I want to keep going. I'm like, no, sweetie, like we have to go. Your brain has to rest for at least 4 hours so that it can recover. It's just like you don't work out all day, right? You take breaks.
Mhm.
So that's the 4 hour in between. And then, so we'll come back and continue. So that's what I love about it. So what other doctor has a therapy that people love to go to? Most people say, "Oh, I gotta go." No, please. I had parents telling me, my gosh, if he asked me one more time for going to therapy, then I'm gonna lose it because they love coming to my office. Like, we're going to therapy, we're gonna see, okay, okay. Well, it wasn't like a kicking and screaming. They were like getting in the car, like, come on, mommy, let's go. So
Tell me about a patient transformation that just kinda, like, touched your heart and, you just saw, like, that it changed the whole family dynamic and that child is just, like, still doing very well.
I had a 23-year-old patient, nonverbal autistic patient. He had what's called stimming, which is a form of emotional dysregulation. So when he had an anxious moment, his hands would flap like this. And that would typically happen about 20 times a day, he was saying, because he used a letterboard to communicate with me. And so after working with me in my brain transformation acceleration program, he went from 20 a day to 1 or 2 a month. Oh, he came in and he just, he was just, thank you, just, all the things, like, you changed my life. And I'm just, like, right, gosh. And I remember I told someone that story and like, they didn't get rid of them completely. I said, 20 a day to 1 to 2 a month is a dramatic decrease. Dramatic. And so when you did, I just think they expect perfection, and perfection doesn't exist,
Yeah, it doesn't like that's like having the perfect man, right?
Right.
Perfect woman or whatever. Like, no, it's gonna be
Well,
80% of what you want and 20% of what you don't. I don't know.
there's level to it, right?
Yes, there's levels to it. So that's me, us working with autism children on our end, and I actually have a friend. I told you she's a neurochiro, particularly for kids, and she does a lot of different intensive therapies and things of that nature. And we had a child that I referred to her, and he had a big transformation as well. So this is real, guys. Like, this is not something that, is here today on Dr. Oz, gone tomorrow. This is something that has been around, but nobody knows about it. And I feel like for me, we are the least educated all around on, how we can transform and change our brains and actually become better and just feel better, right? And let's talk about, like, how could this help somebody who, let's say, has been through a traumatic experience?
Sure, sure. I can have a patient. She was in her early 20s and told me that she had severe PTSD, is what she said. And I'm looking at her like,
What's the
okay,
wisdom here?
yeah, like, oh, okay, and mind you, everybody had their first impression. She just looked like the
Well,
all
was she in the war? I mean, was she in the military or?
no, no, no military anything, and then she explained to me later that she had to be rescued by the SWAT team from her boyfriend who was abusive,
Oh, okay.
and I said, severe,
Yeah. Okay.
okay, severe. And she was coming in every day. This is when I just had to practice in my office. My practice is now virtual, but she never had an episode in during the training until her
Mhm.
parents came in town, and they wanted to see what this was about and everything. And so she had an episode, and like she's having an episode, and I'm sitting there waiting for her parents to jump in to soothe her or whatever, and they were just stoic. They did nothing, and I'm sitting there like, okay. So, I went to
Mhm.
comfort her, didn't touch her because, you don't know what, touch could do. And so I'm just telling her she's in a safe space and everything's great. Everything's gonna be okay and all that. And what really interested me was after that happened, I thought to myself, so wait a minute, she was great until her parents came in, or her parents, the cause of her PTSD, as opposed to this boyfriend person. So it made me
Mhm.
wonder. One of the things is PTSD is one of those conditions where it is mandatory that my patients have a therapist or a counselor or whoever they choose, because that's not my lane. I tell people all the time. I said I do what I do, they do what they do. If you're in
Mhm.
crisis, don't call me. Call someone who's trained, because I'm just going to tell you not to do that. That's all I have. Or do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't do it, but then just don't do it. So, she ended up getting into another relationship, while, she was working with me, and, I was like, "Wait a," the mom in me came out. I was like, "Wait a minute now, who?" "Did you oh, he's really nice, he's sweet," I'm like, "Okay." They all start out like that sometimes, and, I still keep up with her, and she ended up, marrying the guy, and they have a child, and everything's great. So I was like, "Ooh," "thank you."
Oh, good. Okay, so she chose better, and did she do the neurofeedback?
She did the neurofeedback. Absolutely. Absolutely. So
And talk a little bit for
how
it
got
helped
it.
her. I love that. I love that. So, a special place in my heart is the elderly. And I see a lot of families getting taken over at the last minute by Alzheimer's and
Mm,
dementia, where they catch it really, really late. Is this something that could actually help their loved ones, or
absolutely.
if they're afraid of getting Alzheimer's, like, because sometimes people are like, well, my mom and dad had it, I might have it.
Absolutely. I actually had a patient who was 29 when she contacted me, and her mom was diagnosed with frontal temporal dementia at 50. But Dr. Holmes said, "I know it's only a 50% chance that I'll get it, but I just want to be proactive." She said, "I don't want our sons, she's married, our sons have to take care of me like my brother and I have to still take care of my mom." She said, "I don't even think my mom at 50 knows how to operate a microwave oven." And I was like,
Wow.
"Whoa." I'm like, 50? Like, y'all
Yeah.
52 presently. I'm like, like, that's significant. And she said
Yeah.
even at work, she was noticing that she was forgetting, tasks, and numbers were looked all, they were getting all jumbled in her head. And she's like, it's like, whoa, like, wait a minute, what is going on? And so
Okay.
she started with the program, and she said it's like the fog just lifted. The fog.
Mhm.
And she was like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm just on it." I've had people who have contacted me afraid of losing their jobs because of mistakes or missing deadlines or, making, gross errors that, had their brains been as sharp as they could be functioning well, it wouldn't have happened. So, definitely, as long as, with dementia and Alzheimer's, the early onset, just, as soon as you notice something, I get so frustrated and disappointed and just sad when people contact me, "Well, how long have you noticed your mom been no?" "Oh, for about 3 or 5 years."
Yes.
I'm like,
Yeah.
well, soon as it's soon. I have one of my bridesmaids, she's in Texas, and she said that she and her sisters are noticing that their mom is having some challenge. I'm like, now, like, now's the
Yeah.
time to do something about it. You know what?
Yeah.
Before, when brain tissue dies, there's nothing that can be done about it. Neurofeedback is a way to like reroute and make some new pathways in the brain. Um, it's like I tell people, it's not a cure all. It's just a wonderful tool to have in your tool belt. Another person on the team, another way of helping those in the elderly community.
It's like a life coach for the brain,
Exactly. Okay.
It's a
Excellent.
life coach for the brain. So busy professionals, high performers, is this something that, would actually help them,
Yeah.
think clearer and make better decisions as
Ab
well?
I use it for stress relief, so I haven't been diagnosed. You have to be diagnosed with anything. It's a way to optimize how your brain functions. So I have some executives, entrepreneurs who want to continue working. A lot of people now don't want to retire, because you retire, things tend to go down. So they want to stay in the workforce. They want to make sure that their brains are, just boom, 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 just like they were in their 20s. So they come to me, hey, I'm noticing a little something. It's, again, Alzheimer's, dementia in the family, or they've had concussions, from car accidents, traumatic brain injuries from sports, or, just roughhousing. It's just a lot of challenges that we've had that, I was talking to a patient the other day. I said, I grew up in the no blood, no fat. Yeah, you fell down, but you're not bleeding, so you're good. Mhm. I mean, you don't know about things that could have happened in
Yeah,
your brain
same.
years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, they can grow up in our time.
Mhm. Yes, no,
Yeah, I
they
love that. Even people in sports, contact sports, it would be good
oh, yes.
to do this as well.
Yes.
There's so many different sides, of it that could help us have a healthier brain. I would say, let's talk about your book. I know you have a book,
Ooh, I do.
and I believe you did a book signing not too long ago, right?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Tell us like what inspired the book, what it's about, all of that good stuff. I know you have a little surprise for the audience.
Mhm. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Thank you. So I wrote the book about a year ago. Actually, yeah, before then, but it got published a year ago. It's called Transform Your Brain with Neurofeedback. I gonna have a copy in my and and thank you. I wrote it because most people don't know what neurofeedback is. And it kind of reminds me of how chiropractic was, back in the day. You doing what? You want so I didn't want it to be that way. I wrote it with the intention of introducing it in a manner where everyone can read it and understand it. I'm not trying to, like I tell people, I'm not trying to be the, best research book out there. That's not my intention. My intention is someone can pick this up, read it, and get an understanding of what neurofeedback is, and then consider, oh, you know what? Maybe, such and such a child with autism, might benefit from this. Or, my cousin has ADHD, or, oh goodness, I know someone who, has, been diagnosed with depression and just stays in the house all day, that was my intention. Of course, my daughter was the um, motivation to do it. And, also just to have something that most people don't have, just the way to communicate with people when I'm gone. While
Right.
I'm
I
gone
love
and
that. I
still be
love
here.
that.
Still
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and you're educating people on what you do too. So that's always needed because somebody might be like, I'm not signing up for that, but I'm gonna read the book first. And then when they read the book, they're like, wow, they have aha moments and they're able to understand like, okay, this is why you may need this, right? Tell everybody the surprise that you have for them.
So for your audience, just as my gift, I have the first chapter of my book that you all can read. So that is my gift. So yay.
Yes, thank you. And where can everybody find you online?
Sure. They can find me, excuse me, Instagram, I'm at Brain Core of Duluth, and the same website there if you would like to book a complimentary neuro health call with me just to see if neurofeedback is something that you or your loved one would like to look into. You can go to bookwithdrh.com. And it doesn't matter how you spell a doctor, book with drace.com. You'll get to it.
You will get to her. And another question, because I know they're gonna I want to get this out the way. Is this private pay or is this insurance based?
Sure. It's like I tell most people, all the great stuff typically isn't covered by insurance. Don't get me into the
That's
six
the real that's the real tea, guys. Yeah.
and then
Functional medicine. Yeah.
natural naturopathy, just I don't even think acupuncture in some places is covered it. So don't get me started on it.
Absolutely. So private pay, guys. I'm pretty sure there's different options open available as well.
Absolutely.
And I always end the podcast with give me 3 things that your family and friends would describe you as, and then leave us with, maybe one quote, one Bible verse, or something that would motivate and inspire you every day. Something that you may say to yourself or affirmation.
Sure, sure. Three things that they would say about me. Probably the first one is that I'm high energy. And
Okay.
her asked me, do you know you're high energy? I'm like, this is my normal. I don't know what that means, but thank you. That I'm a nurturer and I've been called a healer. So
Oh,
very
yeah.
thankful for that because it's something that God gave to me. It's natural to me. I'm thankful. And thank you for the Bible verse. I choose a word of the year. My word of the year this year is love. It's also one of my core values.
I love love.
And let everything you do be done in love. That's I think it's oh gosh, of course, because you said that I can't remember I want to say First Corinthians 14:16, but I'll have to please if I misquoted it. Forgive me.
They know it's in Corinthians.
Yes, I
And
believe.
it's
Yeah.
about love. That's enough context right there. Cause I can't quote to save my life. I can't like the number one memorized, but
Yeah.
mm,
I was like, and watch after we got rid of this, so
everything you do out of love.
let
That's
everything
what
we
it
do.
is.
And
I
that's
love
what
that.
we're called to do. That's what we're called to do. So even when I had a moment like I'm getting better, my mom has since passed, but she used to say, I'm so afraid for you because when you drive, you're honking at people. I'm from Detroit and I live in Atlanta. And I'm like, why don't y'all know how to drive? Like I'm just honk, and so I now I go, sending love, help 'em, Lord, help 'em. Help 'em.
Help 'em. I don't think anybody can help this traffic out here, but you know what?
We can put it out there.
They become the neurofeedback and that stress from traffic
Just melt it
will
away.
be over with. Will
Melt
be
it
over
away.
with. Well,
Yes.
this was a treat everybody. I definitely enjoyed this, and I hope y'all will download her chapter and buy her book and get some neurofeedback because it's something that I feel like everybody would benefit from. And I follow Dr. Holmes on all channels and
Yes.
please share. I know there's somebody in everyone's families. There's always a friend or a child or someone that may need help, and this could possibly help them have a better quality of life, guys. We are out. This is the Care Girl Podcast. Y'all have a great rest of your day and weekend.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.